Hello, Discovery Mountain listeners. Today's episode is a special Thursday edition of one of our club programs. Members of the Discovery Mountain Club, or Mountaineers, have access to all of the club programs. And Mountaineers' financial support helps us keep the Discovery Mountain seasons and mini adventures available for free. Do you like what you hear? Well, please consider becoming a Mountaineer and exercise your faith further through inspirational programs and help us keep the main program accessible for everyone. Learn more at discoverymountain.com/club. And now for today's program.
Hello, Mountaineers. Welcome to Bedtime Bible Stories, stories from God's storybook to exercise our faith. Let's begin. During the first year of the reign of Darius the Mede, Daniel made a special study of the writings of the prophet Jeremiah. He read that the length of time that God ordained for his people to remain in Babylon was 70 years. Daniel knew that the 70 years would soon come to an end. He sought the Lord with fasting and deep prayer. Daniel confessed the sins of his people. While Daniel prayed, about the time of the evening sacrifice, the angel Gabriel came to him. Daniel had seen this angel before in vision. Gabriel said, "Daniel, I have now come to give you insight and understanding. As soon as you prayed, a word went out which I came to tell you, for you are highly esteemed. Therefore, consider the word and understand the vision." Gabriel gave Daniel a prophecy that revealed much about the future, but Daniel did not understand it. Daniel mourned and prayed for 21 days, and he had another vision. In that vision, on the bank of the Tigris River, he saw a man dressed in white with a gold belt. The men who were with Daniel didn't see what he saw. He had the gift of prophecy. Daniel was so overwhelmed by the vision that he grew pale and fainted. Then a hand touched him and set him on his hands and knees. The being that touched Daniel told him that from the very first day of his fast, his prayers were heard. He said that the prince of the Persian kingdom resisted him for 21 days. But finally, Michael, one of the chief princes of heaven, came to his aid. The angelic being said that he came to give Daniel a vision of what would happen in the future. Daniel felt strength leaving him again, but a being that looked like a person touched him, and he regained his strength. The marvelous being gave Daniel another vision of what would happen in the future. He spoke of wars and kingdoms and peoples and kings in conflict. The vision ended with a promise that Michael the prince would stand and deliver his people. Finally, Daniel saw an angel on each bank of the river and another being above the waters of the river. He spoke a bit more about the time of the end. Most of what Daniel heard was a mystery to him, but God gave it to him for future generations, and especially for those who live in the time of the end. In time, Daniel's prayer and the prophecy of the 70 years were fulfilled. When Cyrus the Great became king, he issued a decree. This decree allowed the Jewish people to return to Jerusalem and rebuild their temple. The decree gave back to the Jewish people all of the gold and silver vessels that were taken from the temple by Nebuchadnezzar. Cyrus also gave the Jewish people many free will offerings to help sustain them in their endeavors. He appointed Zerubbabel as the leader of the rebuilding project. About 50,000 people returned with horses, camels, and other animals. After the people were in Judah for 7 months, they gathered in Jerusalem to worship. Zerubbabel and some others built an altar. They sacrificed upon this altar and sought the blessing of the Lord. After being in Judah for 2 years, the work of rebuilding the temple began. The Levites oversaw the work. Once the foundation of the temple was laid, they had a great celebration. They were singing, praising, and giving thanks because the Lord did something wonderful. But then, in the midst of the happiness, there was the sound of mournful wailing. Some of the old men who saw the first temple, the Temple of Solomon, remembered its glory. And when they saw the new temple, which was much simpler, they believed that it was a sign that God's favor was removed. They expressed their sadness out loud, and people heard it from far away. Enemies in the land came to Zerubbabel and pretended that they wanted to help with the rebuilding project. They claimed to be worshipers of the true God. The wise governor did not fall for this trap. This made the impostors even more determined to stop the building, and they began to discourage the people of Judah from their work. These rebels continued for years until finally, during the reign of another king named Artaxerxes, they wrote a letter. It said, "The king should know that if this city is built and its walls are restored, no more taxes, tribute, or duty will be paid, and eventually the royal revenues will suffer." They said the Jews were a rebellious people who would not submit to the Persian government once their city was rebuilt. The men who wrote the letter, Rehum and Shimshai, claimed to be concerned for the welfare of the kingdom. The king replied with a letter giving them permission to stop the building. Rehum and Shimshai went immediately to Jerusalem and stopped the building by force of arms. Thus, the work on the house of God completely stopped until a new king came to power. And that has been another bedtime story from God's Storybook. Good night, Mountaineers. We'll see you again soon here in the Discovery Mountain Club.